Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back. Well, what can I say? That since I believe about more or less 15 years ago, since the mighty challenge between chess master Kasparov and the IBM computer Deep Blue, I believe that we have always wondered who is better, us or the machine. Thanks God the Wachowski sisters, I should say, gave us some hope, shed some hope through the Matrix video series, but still as traders we still are in doubt. We are still posing ourselves this question, and I was actually posing myself this question a few times a few years ago, and I just recently recovered some notes I had. For a period I was sponsoring, and I created a tool for the retail traders, and I jot down some notes I want to share with you and see if this can trigger some inner thoughts. So let's say that to cut a long story short, it is quite obvious that discretionary traders are losing ground compared to algo traders. The future is now. Now is the moment of not only of algo trading, of coding. I believe that that has gone some 15 years ago. We moved forward. We are in the era of artificial intelligence, neural networks, deep learning, these softwares that can learn from themselves, repair themselves. That it's amazing what they can do. So on one side I will say that yes, technology has become more available for the general retail trader, so you can have at disposal those platforms, and with a lot of studying and effort you can actually obtain some pretty decent results because you have the tools. Some years ago you didn't have the tool, but at the same time also the institutional, the professional investors, those who have the resources, have moved forward. So nowadays they have that sort of sophistication, and it's not only always a question of software, it's a question of software, it's a question of hardware, it's a question of human resources, of AI in terms of not artificial intelligence but actual intelligence, so they can get some very good brains and work with it. So when you are working on the algo market, you are competing with these sort of realities. So it's a trade-off. So say, okay, but I'll take I'll use a coach. That's a good idea. Use a coach, buy some books, get knowledgeable. That is something that also I believe if you're very good at it you can resell, because you have an idea how much money does it cost to have your code coded by a pro, but somebody who actually knows and understands trading and know how to code properly, it's very expensive. For every little string of code that you want to jot down just to test an idea, it costs money. And I'm telling you, I've spent plenty of money in develop code and testing idea. I can code a bit myself, I'm not as good as my friends, but I can code a bit, and still at the end I needed to get a pro and have somebody to help me out with what I wanted to do. So what is the trade-off here? Well, on the algo side, they have no emotion. They trade, they don't do revenge trading, they do exactly what you tell them to do, they execute your plan by the book. On the other side, you have emotion, so I'm not so sure if once you tested your algo, you actually turn it on and the algo start going on a plateau and not making money or going down, if you're able to resist and make it run in the proper way. So that is number one. They are always attentive, so the algo can work at 3 a.m., can work at 4 a.m., you cannot. At the same time, I wonder, okay, but when you have the algo open at 3 a.m., somebody needs to check that everything is running smoothly. So can you actually relax when the system is trading for you? That's a question. I had some bad experiences there too, to be honest, but I don't want to share them now. They don't miss a trade. They cannot go in burnout. You can go into burnout, try to code your thing, try to optimize your code, but if you don't fall in that pitfall, then okay, you're okay, right? And they can act, of course, in real time. At the same time, what can the human brain offer you opposite to that? Well, you can recognize opportunities. You can have your intuition. So the machine works as long as or as much as you are good in coding it. So it's like for that, and so they say garbage in, garbage out. If you're not good, if your code is bad, if you're good, better coding, you already are not good, you don't know how to twist the code properly, you don't have actually a competitive advantage in using the algo trading. And finally, you know, I believe that at some level the intuition that you get is a sort of very complex analysis that your brain actually sometimes calculates and does without you even realizing. You know, by looking at charts for so many years, at a certain time your brain starts to recognize patterns, also because it's something that your brain does automatically. It starts to recognize situation, you have experience. And so it's quite complex to put all this sort of sensitivity down into a code. And also, you know, you may have thinking ideas, intuition, and reaction to certain very peculiar situations that add up that your algo can do. So finally, if you put those things, you know, on the plate and say, okay, but shall I go for algo? Shall I go for discretionary? Well, if you want to invest in the future and be at the step of your times, then of course you should go and invest some times in try to code and to use algo. At the same time, I don't think that will be the only resource that you should be investing on, because as a retail is doubtful, I'm very doubtful that you can get out a strategy that can be resolutive. You possibly can have a portfolio of strategies, but to build a portfolio of strategies and to run a portfolio of strategies, you need resources. The same resources, or actually less resources than those employed by the gentlemen, the traders you are competing with, which are institutionals, algo funds, etc., etc. There are plenty of resources, you're competing against them, but you need a minimum of resources to be able to build a portfolio strategy or a product where you can actually trust and put your money. I'm sure there are simple strategies, simple concepts that work very well. I'm not sure if they work well by themselves and for a long period of time. That being said, I'm not an algo expert. I believe, sorry to say it, I can say, but I like to say it with a bit of pride. I believe that in Italy we have some very good algo traders. We have one in particular which has been Andrea Unger, which has been once the Robbins Cup, I believe, 4 times. I think we have a good school of algo trading, so but possibly also everywhere. But I believe it's something that I think I made myself clear. I don't think you can go up and buy some strategy off the shelf and that will make you money. It's a long journey. At the same time, well, we know the fallacy of discretionary trading. So what I think personally, and the way that we are using now in my company those sort of resources, we are not there yet for fully automating, but we're using not the full automation, we use the algo side as a sort of guidance. We use it as a tool, and that's that was my original purpose when I invented that strategy, which was called the slope rider. It's still there, I still have the code. It's a tool, it's a trading tool that helps you once you have made your analysis to execute the trade, etc., etc. So if you use those sort of algo instruments as a tool, I believe they can work for you very well. They can save your mental energy without renouncing to the skills, the intuitions that your brain can offer you, and taking out of you, if you want, if you decide so, the emotional part. So you should definitely not renounce to the algo side of things, and definitely try not to renounce also to the other side, and get the best of two worlds and use them as a tool. Guys, I believe I made a few considerations. That's what I think, that's the way we use. Of course, at the same time, we are investing in developing, because that's where the world is going. So you need to be updated all the time. Well, what can I say? Once more, thank you for watching this. I'll see you in the next video. Keep your leverage low, trade safely, be happy, sun is shining, Pietro is smiling, smile with me. Ciao guys, bye.